Alright, part 2 of my metal detecting finds. And I found these further into the woods from the original site of where I found the fragments. And again, at first, no idea what these were. I mean, thin metallic discs and little thicker metal disc with a hole in it. I mean, yeah, no idea what those were, but after seeing that the earlier finds were military related, figured I should just keep them just in case. And I've also began finding lots of these lead balls, basically. About size-wise, about 50 caliber. Actually, there's two sizes of them, and yeah, one is the larger ones are probably lead, and most of them are deformed. And other type is just a little bit slightly smaller, but they're probably lead alloy or something, as it seems to be harder, as most of them are intact and still about like the size of shape of a marble and shows less sign of corrosion. So yeah, kept some of those, and swinging my metal detector around, finding more of these things. I came across one of these. This one, to be precise, actually. Um, these are World War One 75 millimeter shrapnel shells, and of course, at first, again, I didn't know what it was, and you know, this little guy was laying on the ground like this, about halfway covered in leaf, and you know, first thing I thought in my mind, oh cool. Second thing, oh my god. And the third thing was, is it a UXO? So yeah, I mean, from everything from what I seen earlier ones, all these little fragments, then boom, seeing this laying on the ground, I thought, well, why is it intact? I mean, it's in really good. It was in really good condition just by looking at it, and yeah, it kind of worried me. So, you know, walked around a little bit, looked inside, it was empty, but just to be sure, I just left it alone, went home, and before contacting the proper authority, I did some research of my own, and I came across these little diagrams that I printed out. And this is a diagram of a World War One shrapnel shell. And at first I didn't see any coloration, but then after when I went back and looked at these little pieces, well, every single part seemed to match exactly to the diagram, and I came across this functional diagram, which shows that these artillery shells are basically a big flying shotgun shell that's traveling around, supersonic, near supersonic speed. And I thought, huh, well, lots of these parts look very same. Like the the base thing right there has a very similar shape, and also has a little top upper disc. So I found several of them, little metal pipe that shows right there in the section. And then lots of these little lead balls, which are also shown here. I said, oh, maybe it's a shrapnel shell. And that would explain perfectly why these shells were intact the way it was, and had the tops all have tops missing. So came back to the place, cleared the leaves around it, took a stick, poked it inside. It went all the way into the bottom, and then so I lifted it up. Sure enough, empty. Went to the second one. I mean, these things are laying all over the place, mostly on surface. So went to the second one, did the same thing, empty. Third one, empty. Fourth one, couple rocks, but essentially empty. So I said, cool, shrapnel shells. And yeah, some of them were in horrible conditions like this one and that one, see, which apparently bursted for some reason. But overall, some of them have rocks and sediments in it, but overall these are pretty good, in good shape. Most of them unfortunately had their little rotating bands, I guess, disintegrated off when the charge went off. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but these things actually have a markings on it. This one in particular has 8606108, maybe 11S. But yeah, I'll have to look into that. And there's some markings on the bottom as well. Can't really see it yet right now. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But of course, as most of you probably know, if you find a military munition, don't touch it. It could be UXO, it's dangerous. You gotta know what you're doing. I mean, just, I have first-hand experience with some of these things. Not really, but like the amount of time and research I put into it, I know what these are, and I can pretty much determine whether these are armed or not and all that. So yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, it's better just to leave it alone. Call the local police or bomb squad to have it checked for you. So yeah, have fun but stay safe. Be safe. You don't want to be losing your arms while you're metal detecting or camping. So yep, that's pretty much it for this part. And for part 3, I'll show you some of the better finds. So stay tuned.